Hi everyone, today is Tuesday, March 31st, and I'm going to walk you through some of the assignments that you have today for day 12 of remote learning. Yesterday, we started the stations for the rock cycle. We did the read it and watch it sections. So if you did not complete that yet, I would make sure you first go back to yesterday's assignment, day 11, and complete that. But if you are ready to move on, I'm going to start with you. You actually have three different sections today. You have explore it, research it, and write it. Your station cards are all attached, and there are also links below. Make sure, though, that you fill out the Google form for day 12 and submit. And for research it, you will need to open the different links below to see the different types of rocks. So the first thing you definitely want to have open is this Google form. And you will see that you have 4 questions that you need to answer for Explore It. So that's on task card number 1, 3, 5, and 7. For research it, you have 3 questions, all on task card number 4. And then for the write it section, you have 3 questions. So I will walk you through those as well as give you some directions on what to do. The first one that we can do is this one, which is going to open up as scan 5. What I'm going to suggest to all of you is to actually download it. That way, I don't know why mine isn't letting me download now, but if you download it, then you can change it by hitting this button until you're able to get it to rotate. And so that way it's easier to read than having to look and turn your head to read it. Task card number 1 says to go to this website and read about the 3 types of rocks, and then click next to start your rock collection, which is at the bottom right. That link is the last one before the Google form, so make sure that you click that, and you're going to see that it opens up to look like this. You'll see that it has a really good graphic visual of what the rock cycle looks like. And they're going to tell you that you first need to make sure that you create a rock collection. As you learn about the 3 main types of rocks, find out how to tell the different rock types apart and see how rocks change from one type into another. So make sure that you click this specific link first to begin. And you're going to see first that it goes over the 3 different types of rock: sedimentary, metamorphic, and igneous. But you're also going to use this chart below. So it says that there is a chart of some common key physical characteristics that can help you identify the rocks within these 3 main classes. So you have crystals, fossils, gas bubbles, glassy surface, ribbon-like layers, and sand or pebbles. As I read these descriptions, you're easily going to be able to tell which one of these matches each type of rocks. Sedimentary rocks are formed from particles of sand, shells, pebbles, and other fragments of material. Together, all these particles are called sediment. Gradually, the sediment accumulates in layers and over a long period of time hardens into rock. Generally, sedimentary rock is fairly soft and may break apart or crumble easily. You can often see sand, pebbles, or stones in the rock, and it is usually the only type that contains fossils. Examples of this rock type include conglomerate and limestone. So I heard sand, shells, and pebbles. That's going to be this down here. And I also heard fossils. So that's this one down here. Those are the physical characteristics for sedimentary rocks. Metamorphic rocks are formed under the surface of the earth from the metamorphosis or change that occurs due to intense heat and pressure, such as squeezing. The rocks that result from these processes often have ribbon-like layers and may have shiny crystals formed by minerals growing slowly over time on their surface. Examples of this rock type include, I believe it's pronounced gneiss, and marble. So I heard ribbon-like layers, and I also heard shiny, glassy type crystals over here. And igneous rocks are formed when magma, molten rock deep within the earth, cools and hardens. Sometimes the magma cools inside the earth, and other times it erupts onto the surface from volcanoes. In this case, it is called lava. When lava cools very quickly, no crystals form and the rock looks shiny and glass-like. Sometimes gas bubbles are trapped in the rock during the cooling process, leaving tiny holes and spaces in the rock. Examples of this rock type include basalt and obsidian. So I heard that it is shiny and glass-like, and I also heard that there are gas bubbles. So I would definitely reference back to this when you're not sure, because your next section, if you follow along with the task cards, is that we need to collect each of the 6 rocks and read about them in the next part. And we're going to click Identify Rock Types and see how well we can identify each of them. So when I go back, we're going to click Start Your Rock Collection, and we're going to click Begin. And you're going to collect each of these. So that one right there is nice. I'm going to highly suggest you reread the description for each of these. I'm just kind of clicking through it quickly so that you can see what it looks like. This one is conglomerate, limestone, obsidian, basalt, and marble. Once you have those collected, you can then continue on. You're going to hit done, and it will say you have a total of 6 minutes to complete this activity. First, you must correctly identify the rock's characteristics, and then you must pick out the class to which the rock belongs. Each question is worth 1 point, and you will have 1 chance to get the answer right. I'm not going to do every single one with you, but you do need to complete this in order to move on to the next couple task cards. So I'm going to do an example just so you can see what it looks like. Which of these characteristics can you see in this rock? So this is marble, and you want to identify whether you see crystals, ribbon-like layers, glassy surface, gas bubbles, sand or pebbles, or fossils. What I would highly suggest, if you're not sure, I would keep a couple different tabs of this open so that you can have the original one that you had open if it helps you. But I'm just going to take a guess right now, and I'm going to say glassy surface. Wrong. Crystals was the correct answer. And if you remember, crystals are going to be found in a couple different ones. I'm just going to take a guess and say that marble is igneous. It's not right. It's metamorphic. All right, guys. Anyway, just playing around with you. But you want to make sure that you finish that, because then your next part will bring you to how rocks change, which if you follow along with the task card, it actually tells you to move on to this one though, which is the rock cycle diagram. So now when you open that one up, it's at this top right. So if you're not sure, you could take a look over here. It says the rock cycle diagram. And this actually goes through the whole process. So you can explore it by clicking the names of the rock types and clicking on the images. Oops, my bad. I did not mean to do that. So you can click metamorphic rock, and it goes over the different types, what it looks like when it is melting, and it will go over all of the animations for you as well. The reason why you need to make sure that you follow along with this one is because for the last part, because it even says watch each of the animations, these are the 3 questions you're answering. So you need to answer, what is something new you learned? I would definitely go over a little bit more with this rock cycle diagram especially. Number 2, what was your score on the Identify the Rock game? So you actually need to remember, what was your score out of 10 that you received? And number 3, why do you think it is important to study rocks? Based on what you learn after you go through each of these sections, so again, you have these different tabs up here, try to tell us, why do you think it's so important to study rocks? What do we learn from the rocks, and what does it tell us about our Earth's history as well? Once you're done that, you can put all of those answers into each of these research it sections. Make sure that you put your answers in here as you go along. All right, so that's for the research it. The next one, Scan 6. Again, I'm going to try to download this. I thought I could. Now I don't know if I can. It won't let me. Hold on. Open a new window. Let's see if it lets me do that. Okay, so open a new window, then hit download. And once it downloads, you can open it up and rotate it so you can read it better. So this is the write it section. This is why that website is so important, and I would actually keep that up this whole entire time if I were you guys, because that really gives you all of these answers. So make sure that you keep this open. So for the Write It section, number one, you need to describe the process of how an igneous rock is created. You also learned this yesterday in the Read It section as well, and the Watch It section, but again, this is really good to make sure that you're following along. For number two for Write It, describe the process of how a sedimentary rock is created. And then for number three, describe the process of how a metamorphic rock is created. So again, especially here in how rocks change and in the rock cycle diagram, these are two really great resources to help you answer these questions in the Write It section. All right, and then the last one. Again, I'm going to open a new window, download it so that then I can flip it around. This one definitely has some more details that you really need to pay attention to. It's also 2 pages long. There's actually 7 task cards. So that's why it's important to pay attention to which ones you actually need to do any answers on. So for Explore It number 1, it says look at rock samples in container number 1. Well, we don't have those actually in front of you. So keep in mind you have some different examples here. The first one is igneous rock pictures. Then you have sedimentary rock pictures, and then examples of metamorphic rocks and pictures. So for this one, you need to focus on igneous rocks. So you're going to do the first one. And on your lab sheet, write down some of the physical properties about the rocks. So you're going to first focus on igneous rocks, and they're created when magma or lava cools and hardens. When the lava cools very quickly, the rocks appear glass-like and shiny. When the lava cools slowly, gas bubbles are trapped inside, leaving tiny holes. So based on that, you need to make sure that when you're looking at your Google form for Explore It, this is for your number 1, you need to write down some physical properties about the igneous rocks. So you're going to open up this website and make sure that as you go through the pictures, you really want to describe them. If you look, most of them do give you all descriptions here. So you'll see that it does give you some information here about intrusive versus extrusive, but you'll see many pictures. So she wants you to give 3 different physical characteristics, physical traits that you can describe igneous rocks. You have andesite. I see fine-grained here. I see, again, fine-grained. I see a lot of those keywords that is really good to help you give at least one description. You could also describe the colors of some of these if you want to. I would suggest, though, making sure that you include the names of the igneous rocks as you're describing them. Then for the next one, because you're doing sedimentary rocks, this is, again, task card number 3. You're going to write down some of the physical properties about sedimentary rocks. These rocks are called sedimentary rocks. After sediment is eroded away through weather and erosion, it ends up on the ground or bottom of the ocean. The sediment is compacted and cemented together to form sedimentary rock. Fossils are often found in this type of rock. So for this one, you're going to open up this picture with the different types, and just try your best to give at least 3 physical descriptions for these. I know that they are all quite different, but there are definitely some common characteristics that you can notice in each of these. Again, you also learned about a lot of that as you went through the different types of rocks here. And then for the last few task cards, you're going to do the last one, which is metamorphic. And metamorphic rocks are created by lots of heat and pressure over a long period of time. Metamorphic rock is created deep within the earth and can have ribbon-like layers with straight or wavy lines. Crystals are sometimes present. So for this one, you're going to go back and open this picture of the different types of metamorphic rocks. Again, they may be slightly different, but these are the ones that look the closest to each other. Notice, again, they're giving you the names this time. So if you want, you can even specifically name them as you are describing them. So that is for numbers um, 1, 3, and 5 as you were going through the task cards. And then for the last one, it says each of the 3 types of rocks can transform into one another. List the 3 types of rocks on your lab sheet. And that's going to be your last answer. Hopefully this helps you. I would highly suggest keeping this video open as you go through all of these assignments for today. You can keep going back and rewinding or going back to make sure you understand all the directions. But again, remember that when you are done, make sure you submit this because we want to make sure you do not lose all of your answers. I hope this helps today, and I hope you have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow.